A year or so ago, I found myself thinking the words, I don't want to write anymore. Those words kept ringing in my ears like a bad case of tinnitus that did not want to go away. I no longer had margin for anything. I was so burnt out. When it came time to write for myself, create for myself, just have fun, I kept staring at a blank page with that black cursor just staring at me, almost taunting me, like it knew I had nothing to add to the page. And then I got frustrated, and that frustration led to opening up Instagram, which I've now deleted, and I would scroll for 30 minutes. And then 30 minutes somehow turned into an hour, 2 hours sometimes. It was a black hole. It sucks you in. And that cycle of wanting to create, trying to create, getting frustrated that nothing was happening, getting onto social media, doom scrolling, scrolling for inspiration, but really just feeling depleted even more. That cycle just went over and over and over again. I was fried. And maybe you're finding yourself there now too. I was not prepared for my own brutal self honesty. What came next, I really did not see coming. I did not have that on my bingo card. Maybe I didn't want to write anymore. Maybe I didn't want to even be a writer anymore. Maybe I had already done all the writing I was supposed to ever do. Maybe it was just meant to be enough to help other people get their message out there and write on behalf of other people and brands and companies. Maybe that was it. Maybe the passion that I had since I was a child for writing and creating had just fizzled out. Or so I thought. In many ways, like Abraham, I laid that dream on the altar. But for me, for this time, I had no hope or desire of it being rescued at the 11th hour. So if you've ever laid down a dream and felt the relief and the grief of that at the same time, keep watching because it gets better. So I want to share 3 things that really helped me recover from that creative burnout. So the first one is giving yourself permission to not even want to create anything, maybe ever again. That one was kind of a hard pill for me to swallow because I naturally came to this point where it feels like I'm trying to force something that I don't even think I have the desire for anymore. And I know that sounds totally backwards, counterintuitive even, but I had to tell myself that it was okay to not want to create anymore. I had to tell myself it was okay to lay it down. Recovering from burnout of any kind does not happen when you add more pressure onto a structure that's already barely standing. Let it fall. Let it crumble to the ground. There is a verse in Matthew where Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden or burdened, and I will give you rest." That was not a suggestion. That was an invitation to stop white knuckling what was already slipping through my fingers. And that energy to try and make it happen, whatever it is, had just evaporated. Burnout is the inevitable result of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Or is that insanity? Either way, it felt the same to me. Saying goodbye to that dream was painful at first. But then it felt like breathing for the first time, seeing the light of day for the first time after what felt like being trapped in a coal mine for years. I got to let go. I got to stop controlling. I got permission to explore who I was apart from what I did. And it does seem backwards to find relief in surrendering the very dream that you thought you couldn't live without. It was during this season of surrender that my grandmother passed away suddenly. And, we made arrangements and logistics were taken care of, and in the hustle and craziness of trying to plan for a funeral, you're running on adrenaline and shock. During that few days, my dad asked me if I wanted to speak at her service, and I almost said no because I didn't know if I was going to be able to get through that speech without breaking down in front of so many people. But I decided to do it because I knew she would have loved that. And while we were going through her things at her house, we found this red scrapbook that still had the plastic cover on it. And I opened it up and found that she had kept so many of my childhood poems, especially my Christmas poems that I would read on Christmas morning. I would force everybody to listen to my poem that I wrote the night before anybody was allowed to open presents. Did not always go over well. I had no idea that she had saved those. And with what I can only describe as divine favor, I started to feel my creativity start to flow again. And I wrote a speech that I hoped would honor her and point people to Jesus. Because at the end, that's truly the only thing that matters. It's, what did you decide about Jesus? When it was my turn to speak, I stepped up to that podium and spoke with a boldness and a conviction that I did not even know was possible. And I just knew that it was God giving me the strength to get through it, in between, choking back tears. I almost felt like I was given back my creativity during a season of grief so that I could use it to honor someone else and also honor God. And it got me thinking that, I think I've been so self absorbed with, I've got to make stuff happen, I've got to do this, and I've got to do that. And without realizing that so much of what we're doing subconsciously is to get the validation of other people. And sometimes that's what causes our creative well to dry up. And so I did not anticipate starting to feel creative again while also going through that season of grieving. It was a slow refilling of that creative well. So that was the turning point. But surrender was not the whole story. It didn't stop there. And if this story is resonating with you at all, and you want to go deeper into the creative life, what does slowing down actually look like in this insane, fast paced modern world? Recovering and reclaiming your attention. I write more deeply about all of these things over on my Substack, which is linked in my description. Okay, number 2 is engage with beauty for a season. I mean, I say engage with beauty all the time, but sometimes you need to engage with it a bit more aggressively for a season. And yes, I am actually advocating for consuming, but it's not what you think. When you're so depleted and malnourished, you've got to consume the right nutrients to bring you back to health, to revive you. But when I say consume, I am not saying hop on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or even, YouTube shorts and just scroll for inspiration. I'm not advocating for that at all. The kind of consuming I am talking about is found in the real physical world. It's not being passively fed through a tube of digital slop. Find a local trail in the woods, go for a hike, go for a walk without your headphones, without listening to music or podcasts. Just listen to nature, which you will find that nature is actually quite loud, but it is also harmonious, and it does something for your spirit and for your nervous system that is so replenishing. Go for a bike ride, go horseback riding, get out in nature, get around animals, go walk by a river, go play in a river, or swim in the ocean, swim in the lake. Just get around water, flowing water. Get around something that's going to restore you. And nature is one of the best places to feel yourself coming back. Other ideas, listen to classical music. Right now, I am really into Bach's Brandenburg concertos. They're just absolutely stunning, and there's so much energy and life. Other ideas, read great literature. I talk about literature on this channel quite a bit, and I do have more book videos coming. Take an art class, a crafting class, take a wood crafting class, flower arranging, glass blowing, pottery, sewing, cooking, get into gardening. The options are endless. What nourishes your soul that is not a digital screen? Explore the thing that you've been putting off for way too long. There are so many ways to engage and immerse yourself in beauty. So find something that you can do today. You know, that thing that's been hanging around in the periphery of your mind that you keep telling yourself, maybe someday. Well, that, my friend, is beauty saying, let's go play. Beauty is transcendent, but it is also infinitely playful. It mirrors God Himself, who is beauty and is also infinitely playful. You will find that engaging with beauty intentionally is healing in a way that you could not even think possible. Okay. Number 3, giving yourself permission to rest. Step away from the strive factory. We are not machines. We cannot run at the same pace 24/7, 365, and expected to flourish. Rest is not laziness. Rest is not something that you've earned when you've produced enough. Rest is not failure. It's the very soil that creativity grows out of. The creative life is not a sprint. All of life is not a sprint. It's not even a marathon. It is more like a slow walk through a very long and also very beautiful forest. So that desire came back not because I forced it or because I followed some 10-step creative productivity method. It came back because I let it go. So that love of writing that God planted in me, it was just waiting to be surrendered to the one who could do more with it than I ever could think, dream, or fathom. So if you find yourself in that place right now as well, that creative burnout where you're not sure if you even want to create ever again, it's okay to lay that down. It is okay to rest, and it is safe to trust the one who placed that desire in you in the first place. He knows what to do with it, even when you don't. So if any of this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Like I mentioned, I write over on Substack, and I'd love to have you over there as well. The link is in the description. I would love to have you here on this channel, so subscribe, give this a like as well. Share this with a friend who needs to hear it. And I'd love to hear from you. If you've ever been in that creative desert, tell me about it in the comments. What brought you back? Or are you still in that place? Either way, you're not alone. I'm happy you're here, and I will talk to you later. Bye.